Have you ever considered what happens when your money has an expiration date? It sounds like a dystopian science fiction novel, but in 2026, central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs, are rapidly moving from theoretical papers to a global, mandatory reality. This is not just a simple upgrade from paper cash to digital digits on a screen. We have been using digital money for decades through credit cards and PayPal. No, this is something fundamentally different. This is about the total, absolute programmability of your human freedom. Imagine a world where your government can decide with a single line of code that your savings can only be spent on approved eco-friendly products, or that your grocery budget is restricted because you've already reached your monthly carbon limit. Even worse, imagine programmable decay, where your money expires if you don't spend it by the end of the month to stimulate the economy. The era of financial privacy is under a coordinated attack. If you aren't prepared today, your bank account will become the ultimate tool for social engineering rather than a store of your hard-earned value. Welcome to Investor.Mindset. Today, we are decoding the most significant shift in the history of global finance since the gold standard was abandoned by Richard Nixon in 1917. We are talking about the transition to a totally monitored economy and, more importantly, how you can build a sovereignty fortress to protect your wealth from being programmed, tracked, or frozen by bureaucratic whim. The first thing you must understand is the tectonic difference between decentralized assets and a CBDC. Many people confuse the two because they both use digital technology, but they are polar opposites. While Bitcoin and decentralized protocols were designed to be permissionless and private, a CBDC is the ultimate tool for centralized surveillance. In 2026, the convenience of fast digital payments is the bait, but the hook is the total transparency of your entire existence. Every coffee you buy, every book you read, every investment you make, and every private donation you send will be recorded in a centralized ledger controlled by the state. This leads directly to the social credit risk. In some jurisdictions, we are already seeing the first signs. If your online behavior doesn't align with current government narratives, your access to your own capital could be throttled, taxed, or blocked in real time. You won't be arrested, you will simply be disconnected from the ability to participate in society. To protect yourself in this environment, you need to implement a strategy of financial obfuscation. Let me be clear. This doesn't mean doing anything illegal. It means using the legal, historical, and technological tools available to maintain your personal autonomy. The first pillar of this strategy is the physical asset bridge. In a world where money only exists as a permission-based entry in a government database, physical assets act as a disconnected backup. We are talking about physical gold, silver, and high-value collectibles or tools. These are assets that do not require a screen, an internet connection, or a bank's permission to hold value. Historically, whenever a monetary system has been reset, and they always reset, those who held physical assets didn't just survive. They were the ones who bought up the distressed assets of everyone else for pennies on the dollar. Physical gold is not just an investment. It is a system exit button. The second pillar is the self-custody revolution. In 2026, knowing how to manage your own private keys and digital wallets is no longer a hobby for tech enthusiasts or speculators. It is a fundamental survival skill for the middle class. Assets held on a centralized exchange or in a traditional bank are not truly yours. Legally, they are unsecured loans you have made to that institution. If the bank fails or the government declares a bank holiday, you are at the back of the line. By moving a portion of your wealth into cold storage, hardware wallets that are never connected to the internet, you are taking your chips off the table. You become your own bank. This is the ultimate form of financial sovereignty because it is borderless and censorship resistant. No one can turn off your Bitcoin wallet if you hold the keys properly. The third pillar is jurisdictional arbitrage. If you live in a country that is aggressively pushing for total financial surveillance and CBDC adoption, your greatest risk is not the market, it is your geography. Having a portion of your wealth, a legal residency, or a second passport in a jurisdiction that still values financial secrecy and property rights is the ultimate insurance policy. Think of it as diversifying your political risk. In the past, you only had to worry about your stocks going down. In 2026, you have to worry about the rules of the game changing overnight in your home country. Your residency status is now a strategic financial asset. To stay structured in this chaotic transition, I recommend applying the 30-40-30 split. Keep 30% of your liquid wealth in physical assets like precious metals or productive, resource-rich land. Keep 40% in decentralized, self-custody assets that are borderless. And keep the remaining 30% in the traditional banking system for your daily expenses, taxes, and short-term liquidity. This way, if the digital switch is flipped or your local currency is devalued by 50% overnight, you aren't left in the dark. You have Plan B and Plan C already running. Furthermore, we must look at the psychological warfare involved. Governments will market CBDCs as being safer than cash, faster than banks, and more inclusive for the poor. They might even offer airdrops or universal basic income directly into these digital wallets to force rapid adoption. It will look like free money, and for the desperate, it will be hard to refuse. But remember the oldest rule in economics. There is no such thing as a free lunch. The cost of that free digital deposit is your privacy and your future ability to choose how you store the fruits of your labor. Once you are in the system and cash is phased out, they have total control over the velocity of your money. If they want you to spend, they will apply negative interest rates to your wallet, effectively stealing your savings every day you don't buy something. This is why education is your best defense. The majority of people will walk into the CBDC trap with a smile on their face, enjoying the convenience of paying with their thumbprint. But the investor mindset requires you to look behind the curtain. True wealth is not just about the number in your bank account. It is about the quality of that money and your control over it. As we move deeper into 2026, the gap between the monitored class and the sovereign class will widen. One will have their life managed by algorithms, the other will use algorithms to manage their life. Mastering your sovereignty in this decade is not just an option, it is a necessity for your family's future. If you want to keep your money truly yours and stay ahead of the digital currency reset, subscribe to Investor.Mindset and join our community of informed, independent thinkers. Leave the word sovereignty in the comments below if you've listened to every word of this analysis. It tells me you are part of the 1% who is actually paying attention. Thank you for your time and your trust. Stay free, stay diversified, and keep your mind in investor mode. I will see you in the next video.